What if the path to ultimate health didn't look like what everyone was telling you? What if optimizing your body meant challenging the rules? What if doing the unconventional was your secret weapon for success? Hi, my name is Armando Cruz, and in this video, I want to share with you 10 powerful non-conformist strategies to optimize your health so you can think clearer, move stronger, and dominate life on your terms. Make sure you stay to the end because these aren't the same tips you've heard over and over again. Number one, engineer your sleep. Now, we've all heard get your 8 hours of sleep. Amount of time does matter, but the quality is even that much more. And what's gonna give you the quality is creating the environment, hence the word engineer your sleep. So what are some things you can do? Number one, ideal sleep temperature is between 62 to 68. For some people, that's gonna feel super cold. So at the beginning, just chip away. Try to get to the 68 mark, 69, and then slowly but surely allow your body to adapt. Get off screens. The blue light really affects your brain from down-regulating and allowing you to go into that deep sleep. So wear your blue blockers, stay away from screens 1 to 2 hours before, and really try to optimize your sleep routine. So what time are you going to bed? If you can get to bed every single day at the same time, if you can shower with really cold or really hot water right before going to bed, will also help the nervous system and the body down-regulate and allow you to go to sleep. Again, you have temperature between 62 to 68 and making sure you're staying hydrated way before so you're not having to wake up and pee in the middle of the night. Number two, strength training with odd objects and isometrics. Now, first and foremost, being able to be efficient with your training is critical. The nice thing about odd objects that are heavy is that they get a lot. You get more bang for your buck than just going to the gym and do conventional weights. Why? Because you have to use all the stability muscles. You have to conform yourself around it. Now, there is a progression with that, but they become really efficient at optimizing your health. And if you don't have a lot of space, having some of these things in your backyard that you can just do on a daily basis eliminates trip time to a gym and you get more bang for your buck. A few examples in our backyard, we have a pull-up bar, we have kettlebells, we have sledgehammers, we have sleds that we can push and pull, we can swing, we can do pulls, we can tie a rope to the pull-up bar and climb up the rope, go back down. These different things that require the entire body for you to move are very efficient with your time and allows you to get the most bang for your buck. Number three, cyclic eating. So what cyclic eating is, you go up as far as calories and intensity of eating when you are training harder and go down when you're not. In other words, earn your food. If you're gonna train hard, you can fuel with more food. If you're gonna have an easy day, you're barely doing anything, or it's a rest day, keep your caloric count down. What that allows you to do is, number one, the ups and the downs actually help stimulate your body so that it doesn't get into a plateau. And so meeting your demands actually becomes very efficient. When I was training for the ultra marathon, I found myself on really long and heavy days, I would eat a little bit more, especially a little bit more carbs. On the other days that I wasn't going out as long, I would basically cut out all the carbs. And what that allowed was different energy systems to actually tap into play and your body to start getting comfortable with the ups and the downs and meeting your nutritional needs and meeting your caloric needs as needed. Number four, breath work for energy and focus. Breathing is critical. Breathing is life. And if you want to optimize your focus and your energy, optimizing your breathing is the most powerful and the most bang for your buck that you're going to get. So let me give you a quick example. I don't know if you've ever seen a basketball player step up right before he does a free throw. Usually there's some kind of routine, but always in that routine, there is a breath. So you'll see them and they'll dribble maybe 3 times, they'll sit, they'll breathe, and then they'll shoot. Why? Because that breath allows you to focus and get you squared into exactly what you need to do. When my kids were getting all stressed out with their tests, well, what do we walk them through? We say, okay, wait, let's take a deep breath. In fact, I want you to tense up everything. Tense, and then deep breath and relax. Now I want you to focus on what it is that you got to do, and I want you to take 5 deep breaths right after that. Why? Because you're setting an intention of what you want to focus on. Now you are anchoring it in with the breathing. So energy and focus, tie that in with breathing, and you got a winning combination. Number 5, minimalist biohacking to maximize your ROI. Let me explain. So there are so many tools out on the market. You can get infrared, you can get saunas, but there are simple ways. That's why minimalists that are available to you right now. What are they? Sunlight. Get out in the sun. Let that sun hit your skin, bare skin, no sunscreen, so you can boost up the immune system, boost up the vitamin D. Grounding. What is grounding? Getting on the soil barefoot so that your body can connect with the ground, discharge negative energy, discharge anything and everything. Because we are energy conductors, we are made up of energy. And being able to ground into the floor the same way that you would have a ground in any electrical circuit is critical for optimizing health, decreasing stress. Another simple one is cold showers. Everybody has a shower. Everybody can turn it cold. In fact, you waste less money because you don't have to heat it up. And what it does is that it boosts your dopamine response, and your body is flooded with this cocktail of feel-good hormones, and you boost the immune system in the process. Number 6, train your feet like your hands. I know this one's odd, but think about your feet for a second. Your feet are the first thing that touch the ground. In fact, they're the only thing that really touches the ground. As you walk, as you stand, as you jump, as you run. So if your feet are in what I like to call foot coffins, which are most regular shoes, what ends up happening is if you don't use it, you lose it. And so what happens is your feet lose their ability and dexterity to move and to strengthen because they don't need it. The shoe is basically like a cast, and you start atrophying those muscles. You start atrophying the ability to move your foot and your toes in such a way that can respond to the floor around you. And one of the things that you'll notice is people start getting sprained ankles, they start having plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis. Why? Because the foot is not moving the way it should, and then it cannot respond to what you're asking it to do. Let me give you a quick example. So when I was in college, one of the big things that started happening was I started wearing shoes with a lot more cushion. When I started doing that, all of a sudden I started getting heel pain, plantar fasciitis, and I'm like, man, I have all this cushion. Why? What is happening? Well, as I went and I did some research, what I realized is that my foot wasn't working. It was just a big brick. It stopped working, it stopped twisting, it stopped turning, stopped reaching. And what I had to do, thanks to some great physical therapists and some of the research, was now start mobilizing my feet, get my ankles and foot and toes to start doing the work as if it were hands. I'm sure you've seen those people that are born with no arms, and they have the dexterity on their feet that most people have on their hands. And so while you don't need to write with your feet, having your feet that are strong and responsive are critical to optimizing health. Number 7, strategic discomfort for growth. What that means is get uncomfortable, but plan your discomfort so that you can build and you can actually measure your progress. What are some easy ways? Let me share a quick story. So when the kids started running, when the kids started training, one of the things that we started doing on the weekends was getting a tub, filling with water, filling it with ice. Now, there are many different benefits, but the main thing I wanted to get them to do was to figure out how to breathe and to get through the discomfort of freezing water when you get into an ice immersion. And at the beginning, they found, oh, what's the point of this and everything? Well, it turns out that then when they went back to school, their friends started doing it. And then they started really embracing it. And now there's no hesitation. They don't hesitate to get in. They just jump in, they get in all the way to their neck, they focus on their breathing. They've trained their body to get uncomfortable. And as a result, you build more mental fortitude as well as physical strength. When you are weight training or where you're doing track work, what are you doing? You're training the nervous system, you're training your entire body to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and still perform at a high level. So if you want to optimize your health, get uncomfortable. Number 8, integrate playing as part of your health strategy. What does that mean? Not everything has to be so serious. Think about that for a second. Like, everything we do in our life, for the most part, is quite serious. And so movement and health doesn't have to be serious. There are so many things that we can do to move our body that is quite playful. Going outside, playing tag, climbing a tree, swimming. I remember as a kid, we would go and dive as deep as we could, try to grab sand from the bottom of the ocean, or at the bottom of the pool, we would grab a toy and come back up. These different things that allow you to move and get comfortable in your body don't have to be serious. Play is one of those things that very often we kind of grow out of, because as adults, we keep telling the kids, oh, we gotta get more serious on this. But the kids have it right. The play is the way. So remember, play is the way. When my kids were younger, in order for me to get them to exercise a little bit more, I wanted to disguise it some. And I would bring them into my facility and I would set up obstacle courses. And we would have races and we would invite their friends. And so our play dates was actually working out, but in disguise. Another thing that we would do is there's a dice game named called Tenzi, and there's 10 dice, and the idea is to roll until you get all 10 dice to have the same number, whether it's a 2, a 3, a 6, whatever. And so what I did is we created a version of that game, which is called Workout Tenzi. And so for every number, it has a particular exercise. So we would start 1, everybody rolls, everybody has 10 dice, we get going. First one, everybody does 10 push-ups. Okay, great. 10 push-ups, the person 1 goes to number 2. Number 2, if that person wins, he does 10 squats. Everyone is still on station 1, so they have to do 10 push-ups. So until you win your stage, you don't go on to the next exercise. And man, the kids loved it. They were like, oh, let's work out. It got to a point where they started playing with the neighbors, and they had the neighbors doing workout Tenzi. So all I'm saying is that if it works for kids, there's a good chance it's gonna work for you. So embrace play, because that's the way. Number 9, deliberate recovery instead of mindless resting. We have long weeks. We work hard, we push hard. And sometimes it's easy to just veg out and not do anything. You're like, oh, I need a rest day or recovery day. But instead of just plopping yourself down in front of a couch, watching Netflix for hours, not hydrating, eating crappy food, let's be deliberate. Make sure you're hydrating. Make sure if you need to take a nap, you take a nap. Make sure if you have compression boots, get compression boots on you, or go in the sauna. Do something where you're moving. Do some yoga, do some active stretching. What's interesting is that studies show that after the age of about 35, you are better off doing active recovery than you are just mindlessly sitting and vegging out. From a recovery perspective, both mentally, emotionally, and physically, active recovery is the way to go. So find easy things to do that allow you to move through a range, but have very little stress on you and your system. Number 10. Challenge-based living instead of comfort-based living. We're in a society nowadays that just values comfort. It values the easy way. But hey, you're here, you're an entrepreneur, you are a non-conformist. And so when we say challenge-based living, it is living with intention to improve yourself day in and day out. And that includes pushing the boundaries on what life could be. It's testing yourself. Maybe you're not a big runner, but you sign up for a half marathon or a marathon, or even better, an ultra marathon, where you're gonna go through the mountains for 50, 100 miles. And you're like, well, I can't do that right now. And that's fine. That's the challenge. Train yourself so you can. Maybe you wanna do an obstacle course race, or maybe you wanna do a high rocks, or maybe you just want to set an intention to do 500 push-ups a day. Whatever the case is, challenging yourself will help you grow. I mentioned the 500 push-ups a day. I had some friends that said, hey, for the month of February, let's do the 10,000 push-up challenge. Well, what happens? I decided, hey, I'm not gonna do it. And 5 days into it, I see everyone posting, hey, I got these amount of push-ups. And I was like, man, I got FOMO, right? I go, man, they look like they're having a lot of fun. I don't wanna miss out. So what happens? Start making up for all the 5 days that I missed. So I started doing 500 push-ups every day. And everyone else had to do just like 350 or 60, I think it was, for the every day for the month of February. Well, what ended up happening is that in 20 days, I just kept the 500, and in 20 days, instead of the 28, I was able to hit the 10,000. What did I learn from that? What did I get? Well, number one, 500 was a lot, and I was struggling to get through 500. But by the time the 20 days were up, my body was craving it. I had gotten stronger. I was looking forward to that stimulus. Fast forward 3 weeks later where I wasn't doing it, my body felt more beat up. I felt weak, and every time I would do push-ups, I felt rusty. I didn't feel as good as when I was doing 500 every single day. While I'm not saying you have to do 500, the point is that challenge yourself. Challenge your body, challenge your mind. Live a life of challenge, not a life of comfort. If you're ready to stop following the mainstream and start optimizing your health the non-conformist way, join our newsletter today. You'll get tips, strategies, and stories to help you on your journey each and every week. Go to the description below, click the link, and join today. I've been Armando Cruz. I'll catch you on the next one.